We're back from the dead.
Are you ready? Let's go. Back from the dead.
We're back from the dead.
Hell yeah.
We're back from the dead. Back from the dead. Back from the dead.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, that'll make you faint on sight. But she looks like trouble. Her lips so kissable and poisonous. I know she won't be good for me. But I don't care, 'cause I know it's so rare for a guy like me to get a chance with a girl like her. And I won't waste that chance. 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 Waste that chance.
Hello, y'all. Here we are for the beginning of our inaugural CCS Diamond season presented by Nameless. I'm Infinite Dodge. I came in as an emergency sub for the lock-in tournament, and I built some subterranean underground tunnels, and now I'll be living here at the CCS. You guys can't get rid of me. Joining me is my good buddy. Oh, other side. I'm mirrored.
Yeah.
Joining me is my good buddy Salt Spreader on the color duties, and we are getting right on into draft between Chazz It Up and Squid champions here, and we are seeing some crazy stuff going through already. Salt, first ban Silas. That's an interesting one.
Silas has definitely risen in priority. He's been played a lot. Even in LPL today, he was picked top lane against, one of the biggest champs that's been picked up a lot recently, Gnar. Very blindable, but now Silas has become that sort of pseudo counter because he gets the Gnar ultimate and he performs quite well in team fights and snowballs a lot harder than a Gnar does. And Renata Nautilus double support bans make a lot of sense. I think Renata is also a very strong B1, very similar to the Seraphine, and also opens up the Renata Callista lane or the Renata Aphelios. A lot of ways to play it out, but Akali also taking out the table too. I mean, in LEC today, both Akalis just had a great time, had a great showing here, showing how powerful she is now. But Volibear being that super strong jungler still off the table. I still think he's pick top. That still works out very well if you want it though.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to go the full AP route or like a hull breaker, like Cheese split push style if you want to make top Volibear work. Definitely a frustrating champion when he does snowball, but you were talking in the pregame before we came on, Salt, about how viable B1 wow, what is her name? The champion I hate, Seraphine is, and B1 Seraphine it is going to be for Chazz It Up here. And we got to note that Squid champions are playing with a bunch of subs and role swaps here. The exact extent of which I'm not entirely cognizant to. I know Jay Shmoney's coming in for Kim Jae Min. I don't know what role Jay Shmoney normally plays, but subbing in the jungle and looks like going to be piloting that Wukong, which has been so meta for so long here. And I do like that that's sort of a takeaway here, right? Because you don't want to let that go over with the Seraphine. That's not good.
Definitely not. Wukong, I mean, people still pick him up. I don't think he's as powerful as before. His clear is a lot worse. However, I still think people haven't found the way to play around that pick. There is some small counters like the Mordekaiser jungle. Sometimes Trundle is used as a response because he's a great reactive champion, where Wukong has to be proactive. Trundle can be there, can play very reactive. But the Samira, a huge pickup here. There is still Leona left on the table as that engage. You could potentially go Blitzcrank, who is considered a great counter into the Seraphine. And kill lanes have become a little bit more prevalent as well. Samira is very great at that and able down in LPL having a great time with that pick.
Yeah, definitely
There's
so.
an R.
There's the Gnar, and that's why you banned the Silas, as you already called out. It's a very, very good compositional answer into that Gnar. And what's really sort of fascinating to me is this is Squid Champions sort of showing exactly what they showed in the lock-in tournament, which is they're picking themselves a lot of early game. I mean, they slammed Wukong Samira, they're trying to snowball, they're trying to set up wombos. And that didn't work out for them so well. And you can see the response from Chazz up here is basically exactly what you would expect it to be into a team that's trying to snowball through early game, which is we're going to bank on the scaling. We're going Seraphine, we're going Victor, and you're not going to be able to make enough of a difference pre-25 minutes for us to be scared, and we're just going to beat you in the late game here. But that will be the Swain going on in for Ride the Fire in the mid lane.
And I think Swain is one of those champs that is great overall. He has a good lane phase, scales decently well. You can either go full damage with Leandres, or you can opt for that more drain tanky supportive style build with Rylai's and, oh my god, Imperial Mandate. That item is really insane on Swain, especially with the Rylai's in tandem. But the Ashe is actually a flex ban. It's been picked up support and AD recently. And I'm telling you, it's super annoying to play against in scrims. You're constantly dealing with that map hack. And especially since she builds so much ability haste, it's always up whenever you're trying to do any kind of play. So I'm happy with that ban for sure.
Yeah, it's sort of a funny evolution. Yeah, I feel like for years and years, it should have been understood ever since the mini rework on the Q coming through from Ashe that she's more of a supportive champion than she is a hard AD carry. But it just took a while for like the item meta to sort of catch up after the item rework to put her in a good spot to be played primarily support. I mean, people have been doing it off meta for years, but it was never as good. But now you're finally in a spot where you can take this champion that just has so much utility and CC and say, no, we can put you on a support's income and you'll still be useful. So definitely a very, very exciting pick to see. But something else that's exciting, as the resident GP one trick, we are getting denied our GP coming through in the top lane, and that Action, that's got to be a target ban to Boreal here. I don't see Action ever anymore.
Definitely, I think he has lost a lot of pride, especially when his main gimmick was roaming down, getting nice kills bot, or roaming top, getting some quick and easy kills, and his lane potential was really, really insane. So getting rid of that, especially if the player is really good on it, he still has the snowball effect, right? And late game, when he's able to get those resets, get those champs back up on the field, feels really nice. But the Jace blind is a very interesting pick here, and I don't like it. Just pick Ornn, pick Malphite, pick Sion. There's so many things that you pick, and Jace is not a champion.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I play Jason solo queue, but never play what I play. The Shy plays what I play, and the only reason he can get away with it is because he has the best hands in the world, right? No offense to Boreal, I don't think he has the best hands in the world. Jace is just not good right now. The damage does not scale post durability update, even with the Eclipse, which took a nerf for ranged users on this patch. It's just a really confusing pick, and I feel like it doesn't fit in the identity. You don't have other long-range champions to go alongside this Jace. You're not playing an Ezreal Zoe poke comp. This just looks like a composition, to quote an LSism, that's mono red for the side of Squid Champions, and I don't foresee it doing particularly well into the late, especially now that the Leona's been picked away to help Jaysh Money, or rather, Faye and Snowball down that bot lane.
Definitely. And, ooh, they are going to hover this Graves here and potentially grab that up here, so it is going to be locked in here, and very good clear. Honestly able to duel with the Wukong quite well, even though he gets a lot of armor. The Graves gets, or the armor shred is not enough to really deal with that. And Lethality Graves did get a buff. I do believe he got every single mythic for Lethality got some move speed added to it, right? So now you can go bootsless Graves. LS has talked about that quite a bit. He's able to just not build boots, run around the map at Mach 10, and still one-shot everyone with those Lethality items. But the Ahri, I guess it's okay in lane against the Victor here, but I really don't like it as an R5. I think there's a lot better picks. If you're going to, grab up that R, you might as well have just grabbed it R4 and saved it a little bit longer, or even just first phase. I think R, you don't save for that late.
Yeah, I mean, they saw both solo lanes, right? So saving their solo lanes for the second phase of picks definitely nullified their capability to make effective use of that red side counter pick. But it's two very different styles here, right? Where you see for the side of Chazz it up, they're going to be going with that Seraphine carry option through the bot lane, pairing it up with the Leona. She's going to scale up into an absolute team fight monster, going to be putting out lots of healing, and you're sort of looking to that Graves to be the bridge pick into the mid late and then really pop off in the team fights with the Nars. We do just jump on into Clyde Draft. Meanwhile, it's all aggression all the time coming through from Squid Champions, the way that they locked it up for this one. So definitely going to be a very interesting matchup here. Who do you, I think I know what you're going to say, but who do you favor in a battle of the scaling comp versus the all-in aggression comp?
I mean, if they can give all their carries 3 kills at the beginning of the game, I think Squid Champions has a great shot. However, I think Seraphine overall is just super strong, and walking into any of these dragon fights without getting poked down, it's going to be really rough. And Seraphine nullifies all the poke they have, which is just the Jace alone. And the rest of the team wants to go in, look for picks, and all that. However, Leona is pretty decent at peeling away from that, and Seraphine also provides a lot of self-peel on her own. So it's just a lot of, can we make picks happen? But how are we going to burst through Leona? How are we going to burst through a Seraphine who's just shielding herself constantly, and a Gnar who also gets a lot very tanky? It's just quite difficult to just push your way through brute force, which is exactly what the Squid Champions want to do with their whole composition. Their identity is finding an angle and taking them by the throat. But Chazz have a great way of responding. They have a great defensive composition set up, walking through a Victor, Gravity well, walking through Seraphine, walking through, Graves against walls. Very difficult to do.
Yeah, very much so. One thing I'm a little bit curious about is they sort of signaled like it was going to be Ride the Fire playing this lane in the mid lane, which he did play during the lock-in tournament, but instead last second flexing that down to support. How does the interaction work with the Claw now with Samir? Can they still chain off each other on that?
I believe so, especially since it is the pullback. I think the pullback is what you would want to chain it with, because Swain has essentially 2. You get the root, and then the pullback if you are able to land it, and Samir can get the knock-up off of the pullback there, and that's how that interaction, I think, works. Haven't really seen it in practice, so it will be nice to see them pull it off here. However, it's a Leona, and it's a Seraphine. Those champs aren't the easy... Seraphine is very easy to kill in the early game, but Leona is not. She is a menace. But so is Swain, and realistically, Samir's not really that much of a champion until she hits the level 5, until she gets those points into her queue, and level 6 is where she truly comes online. Swain, though, is just a monster in all phases of the game.
Yeah, definitely so. Going to be an interesting one between Squid Champions and Chazz up here to kick us off of this 3-game series here to kick off the Diamond Tournament here at CCS presented by Nameless. We will be right back after a short spectator delay break to bring you all the action, so stay right where you are. We will return. All right, everybody, we have hit the rift. We are here for game number 1 between Chazz and Squid champions to kick off the inaugural CCS Diamond Split. Once again, I am Infinite Dodge, joined by Salt Spreader.
Well,
and nothing crazy happening, level 1.
No. It looked like it. You know, we zoomed in on Zack Attack for a second, thinking he's going to go and he's going to look for something. But no, just a standard 5-point from everyone here. We see this Wukong pathing up towards that top side, probably going to get that ward down to defend his Raptors, defend the red buff, and then grab a sweeper. There it is. Nice and easy. Graves, on the other hand, is also walking up to the top side. That's crazy. They're both placing towards top side. Who would have thought?
Yeah, when you have a volatile lane like Gnar Jace, and I want to point out this is first strike Ghost Jace coming out for Boreal here. Definitely going to be the side you want to clear towards as they reset and head towards those bottom buffs. And how are you feeling about that first strike Jace? I think that might scale a little bit better.
I think first strike scales very, very well. In a rune, it's tree. Everything there is early game centric, whereas its actual keystone is very late game focused. 10% amplified damage is really insane in the late game, right? Especially coming out from a Jace. But the Ghost here is going to be a little interesting, right? He's going to be trying to run down the Gnar because he kind of has to. They want to team fight quite often with their composition, and Jace doesn't really fit that well, so he needs to get ahead so he can join those team fights very well, be there in time. But you do see both bot lane leashes going to arrive at around the same time. Claw going to land.
Yeah, it's a nice little bit of poke coming out from Zack Attacker there. Stepping on up to get some momentum going in the early battle for Wave Shove, which it looks like will go in the direction of Squid Champions. They want to hit that level 2 first. They're playing the lane with the onus to get ahead early, so they want to hit that spike. They want to start to force the action for sure, and they will maintain vision control over that middle brush as well. That's going to be really important.
We do see this Victor has priority on this RA, but we do see another Claw land.
Oh my goodness gracious, look at that. Shiny Weavile already down to about 1/3 health. That's potions taking across the board. I mean, this is the bullying power of this early game coming out from Squid. You know, we were a little bit curious whether they would have the capability to make the early game advantages count, but if they can keep this aggression up, if they can keep landing this poke and force Solbert out of lane, keep them picking up these waves, definitely going to be a omen of good things to come for them.
Definitely. And we see both these junglers are finishing up their buffs and potentially one more camp here, but just 15 more seconds, the Skull Crab does spawn, but look where this Jace is positioned here. Wukong, though, over the wall, is not going to get spotted, but neither is the Graves. They're going in.
Yeah, it's looking like it was a bit of a split call as Boreal forced a flash and Ghost. The Wukong was going towards the mid lane, and they're trying to set it up. That's the Electrocute Ignite. There's the charm. Do they find the kill? Yes, they do. Hand it on over to Ride the Fire, picking up first blood there for Squid Champs.
So it was a good look coming in from Graves, right? Burning the flash away from that Jace as the Gnar did go in, but Wukong is just a little bit more effective there at closing the distance, has double dashes there, and was able to burn the flash of that Victor and the kill. But oh, look, Birdo going in.
Yeah, going to force the flash out of Jay Shmoney there. So in the end of that sequence, it's the flashes and the Ghost burned in the top side player. So Jay Shmoney and Boreal now without flashes. Birdo going to get a nice little Wraiths clear, a nice little invade on Jay Shmoney, disrupt that clear a little bit more, although it's starting to reset, it's bouncing between them, and it's ping-ponging, not the cleanest. And then, in exchange, it will be the first blood, the Squid Champions. So they're executing to a certain extent on their onus to get ahead early here, but there are windows for Chazz. They can look for a repeat towards top, and they can try and put this Jace behind. It would pay big dividends if they can do so.
Definitely. This level 3 dive could work out very well, but Birdo, again, on the Graves, not the greatest champion at diving, especially around towers, because you know how Graves works. He can't shoot through things. That's crazy talk. So it's going to be a little interesting. He is going to grab that bot scuttle up before the Wukong can get there, get a little bit more ahead and farm, but the assist is definitely helping out a little bit. But Ari has the flash available. Can they make anything happen here?
Yeah, just going to force the flash. The return trade, very good from Ride Fire onto Birdo, but going to have plenty of sustain. That wave was left in a great spot, but Solbert is not in a good spot. Burned out and taken down by the Squid Champ, so they're rolling in 2 lanes now. It's just up to that Jace to be the last one to join the party, but they are getting this snowball rolling on down the hill, and they're not done yet with Jay Shmoney coming down. Yeah,
Birdo is going to arrive.
Oh my goodness gracious, Shiny Weavile, that was a scary, aggressive move as now the claw into the knockup onto Birdo. They don't quite have the burst at 5 minutes to Squid Champs, but they are definitely going to leave that grave sore, and he'll run off to his jungle and try and sustain up off his camps.
I really like the attempt there. They're making things happen. They need to get this early game rolling, but the clock keeps on landing, and Zack Attacker is having a great time down in the spot side. And this combination, we see this interaction happen every single time. The call lands, the pullback happens, and Samira dashes right on in and dashes forward as well with her E. So they're able to close the distance, just burst out the Seraphine, and she's not even able to get out with the flash. The exhaust was also burned. But we do see this top lane here. You know, the Gnar is winning by a pretty sizable margin at this point. Steelcap's already completed a great buy, especially against this Jace, against the Wukong. It's very great against the top side of the map and the Samira as well.
Yeah, good itemization coming on through from Super Yacht. What is a little bit concerning is this gold lead already at about 900 at 6 minutes. Not insurmountable by any means, and it's Squid Champs playing to their composition. They picked winning lanes, and they are winning their lanes, but definitely going to hurt. That's about half a legendary item of advantage sitting for Squid Champs, and where I'm really feeling that right now, Salt, is you look at these supports, it's going to be a lot of extra damage for the Swain as they're sniffing for it, but I don't think they're going to find anything,
No,
but what we might find is a fight in the top. Yes, indeed. Boreal once again forced to play defensively, but Super Yacht ate so many turret shots. And now with the Ghost back up, Boreal might just chase down this mini Gnar, but the wave's in a good spot. He can keep it here from now, tick up off that last pot.
Also has the fleet footwork, so should be able to sustain up quite well. But we do some looking for Zack Attacker.
Yeah, they're going to find the CC layer, but it's just going to be a bit of a no decision for the side of Chazz it up. They engage that fight, and they are going to regret it. Birdo getting here way too late. Random Caps going to arrive as well. They'll finally maybe take down Faye, and yes, with the dash in from Birdo, but it took the Chaos Storm from Random Capitals.
Top.
That was so much invested, but look at Super Yacht turning it around. That was perfectly played.
I like the idea from that bot side play, but your Seraphine Leona, you guys don't really do damage at this point yet. Oh, but it's a big fight on the top side again.
Yeah, Super Yacht had that Mega Timer ready and raring to go. I mean, this is the difference between Soul Lane XP and Jungle XP. Jay Shmoney not even 6 yet. Meanwhile, Super Yacht has everything he needs at level 7. Birdo going aggressive again, though. Yeah, he is in a bad situation. Pinched by 3, you'll get the blue, but they'll just transfer right on over, so not necessarily worth it there from the jungler of Chazz it up.
We have seen what a Fed Samira can do, and Fed, she is 4-1-0, up just the 4 CS. That doesn't really matter. She is popping off here in this game, especially with the help here of Zack Attacker. Both of them participating in 4 out of 5 kills so far. Looking amazing. And First Dragon should be up, or is up, and no team really wants to look for it just yet here. The soul stacking is exactly what the Squid Champions want to do, but Soulbird and Shiny Weevil are just trying to make sure that doesn't happen by having priority. Their wave clear is a lot stronger, so they are going to be able to get these waves under and force the bot lane to either engage them to try and push out that wave, or catch it under tower.
Yep, and they will be catching it for now. Going to try and reset it to parity and a neutral state, but that gives the side Chazz up plenty of time to get their vision control out here. Going to be a little bit while longer before we see this Drake started up. And Shiny Weevil has to be careful. Gonna take the safe route, go back for that cone. But with that Scuttle Relic, they'll have a good idea if this is getting started. We might see a big team fight of Bruin, because that Hextech Drake is getting hit.
Now, if we could take a look here at the Victor stack, see where he is. 72 with an assist. If he gets 3 more stacks, he will have the first upgrade available and might be able to use that. But no, they're just going to try and move toward this top side. Maybe dive this Jace, just punish that very, very squishy top lane pick here. And they are definitely looking for a play here. They want to make it happen. And this Gnar is going to push, but he is going to lose that Gnar bar before they do go for the dive. So they aren't going to be as tanky and ready for this dive here.
Yeah, he's not going to connect with the ultimate either. Going to eat the aggro, going to hold it for as long as possible so they get the Chaos Storm down, but Boreal going to pick up the kill with the poke backwards. The turret doing most of the work, and now the wave making sure that Birdo can't chase any further. The Ghost being used masterfully by the Jace here to get on out of dodge after that engagement. So the cross-map attempt was made, but now they basically wound up losing on both sides of the map of Chazz it up.
They are still up in CS up at this top side, but the pullback, again, the Swain having his way in this lane. The Noxian General having a good time here. Oh my goodness, Boreal.
Oh no, Birdo and Random Capitals really stayed on the map that long to ambush. And now the setup, Jay Shmoney, the vision control in the jungle, going to set up a nice pick. That's so huge for Solbert and Shiny Weevil to get back into this game.
It's a great defensive ward, knowing that he's going to go in, but they're going in again onto the Ahri, who has ultimate, though.
Oh my goodness, that is going to be another pick for Chazz it up. I can't believe it. It was set up so beautifully. The dive coming through. Zack Attacker going to get on the board as well with the first kill of the game for the support, but Squid Champions looked like they were starting to run away with this early game hard enough to make sure that the scaling never comes through. But that series of picks and patient, good map play coming through from Chazz it up are really going to put them in a decent position to weather the storm for a good while longer.
It is still potentially a 2K gold lead here, but we are going to hit a quick replay here and see what happens. That nice defensive ward placed allows the Leona just go in over the wall and allow that Encore to land for free. And a great prediction with that E. If the Wukong was able to get that Shadow Clone over, he would have been caught out there.
Yeah,
and in the middle... Oh, yeah, we see a big pickup coming in as well. The Leona going to be able to land that Solar Flare, and Ahri just not dashing in time. Even though she has 2 more dashes, it does not even matter because the Gnar is still mini, and he is still ranged. But at the same time, it's just a free kill in the bot lane. Solbert feeling a little too comfortable under the tower.
Yeah, definitely don't want to be that squishy Seraphine all on your lonesome. And it was just a nice amount of awareness from Chazz it up. That was all one sequence of play from their point of view. Oh, they forced the flash and repeat, essentially, here for Ride the Fire. Not having the easiest time, but in the top lane, Boreal picking it up onto Super Yacht. That is wild. Jace really starting to pop off now. Has that serrated Dirk, so the damage coming through, and this game has gotten very bloody very quickly.
Cyclone's available.
Yeah, Jay Shmoney trying to move aggressively into the enemy jungle, going to flash Cyclone, going to find the charm, going to be the follow-up as well. Gravity Well going to keep him in place, and the Eye of the Empire going to find some poke in return, going to dissuade any further chase you have to feel. But here's Solbert from the flank, trying to find the Encore angle, does find the root with the beat drop onto Ride the Fire, but he is still looking healthy and fine. He's chasing Random Capitals back to the tier 2, but now here comes the CC chain. Unfortunately, that demonic ascendance is still ticking, is still going. The explosion hasn't even been used yet, so Zack Attacker does not fall despite going low, sets up the double kill for his mid laner.
Oh my goodness, and that's the power of mid to early game Swain and Ahri. They pop out so much damage, they have great sustain, and there was just no match for the Seraphine and Leona. And Leona not nearly as tanky as she needs to be, but we are going to go over to a quick replay, and Cyclone does land onto the Graves. They are able to pop him right away at the beginning of the fight, but Jay Money going to get taken down very, very easily. The CC chain comes in there. Victor does pop out some damage. As Seraphine walks up a little too far forward, gets caught out by most of this damage coming in from the Swain. Charm does go wide, forces the flash, and they are trying to go onto this Victor, but they aren't able to find another Gravity Well. Beautiful comes on out, but the Encore is just not enough. They don't have the damage right now because it's still an early game Victor, not even one item completed, and the Ahri's just able to get them both with that Orb of Deception, and I'm not sure if we're going to see that Gnar solo kill, but we should be back to real time.
Yep, we are into live, and we're just in time to see Chazz it up make a nice Herald play to try and equalize the gold a little bit, and Zack Attacker's ult is still on cooldown. Very nice timer abuse coming through at Random Capitals, going to be the beneficiary of that kill, going to be good in getting those upgrades going. So Chazz it up has not rolled over and died by any means in this early game. That's a nice swing of gold back for them, but they are still down about 4K here. And Jay Shmoney, yeah, he's hovering. He wants it, but Super Yacht played it nice and patient, didn't overextend, didn't look for any meaningless poke onto Boreal. But man, they just do not stop fighting here. It's another invade onto the blue buff. This didn't go well for you last time, Birdo. And the attack move, click, hit the plant instead of the champion. That's a feels bad moment for Birdo, who once again gets picked off in search of that enemy blue buff. Just leave it alone. Shiny Weavile might be paying the price as well. Thankfully, that laser into the Encore going to find so much CC right into the Gravity Well, but it's not going to be enough damage. They just don't have it yet to Chazz it up, and this should be a free Drake for Squid.
Very much so. The jungle is already there. Their support, their main way of getting into a fight, already taken down as well. This is a free Dragon, 2 up for the Squid champions, and they are looking really nice. They're playing this early game phenomenally. They're playing around their picks with the Ahri, with the Swain, know that they can find some big catches there with the CC chain that they do have access to, and over, they're playing around this vision quite well, and playing off of the aggression coming in from Chazz it up. They are invading. They are looking for plays over the map in the enemy jungle, and they are ready for it. and it's a little bit of retaliation for what happened to Jay Shmoney earlier on that red buff.
Yeah, definitely so. And, you know, I can't help but feel a little bit like Chazz It Up are just overplaying their hand, right? Your comp scales really well, but they keep opting into these aggressive plays that they set up, you know, they're executing fairly well. They're setting up their own CC chains as Super Yacht trying to chase under turret, going to take that turret bounty and going to find a lot of W hyperprocs onto Boreal, but not going to continue chasing that. That accelerated shock blast has landed. The wave here as well, body blocking. But yeah, Chazz It Up, they have not shied from being as aggressive as Squid, and that's just not going well when you're playing the late game comp. Just wait until you have damage, please, I'm begging you.
It's either wait until you have damage or play it around objectives while they're getting hit by the Dragon or the Baron. That's where your team excels at, in these big corridor fights in these rivers with the Leona, with this Seraphine, and Victor. Their zone control is amazing. They play around vision, and they can make things happen, but so far, they're getting pushed off their vision lines. Look at all those wards placed down by Squid Champions down to spot side, but they're looking for a play potentially here.
Yeah, that Leandri's Torment coming on through from the side of the Swain. Yeah, I mean, the vision control absolutely massive in the river for the side of Squid Champs. Not surprising considering the priority they've been able to play through on the bot and mid lane so far in this game. And it's been tough, and it's only going to get tougher with that Landry's Torment coming through from Zac Attacker. We've seen lots of great max distance Eye of Empire hits from across the map. Now we're going to see the TP coming in just to collect another objective bounty here. What's curious to me, I'm not sure I've ever seen this. Okay, no, I thought they got first turret and had an objective bounty on it, but it was actually first turret over to Squid, as that's going to be first death of the fight over to Shiny Weavile. Just getting picked off by Boreal, as meanwhile, Birdo, you don't get any tank stats that work against the Ahri, buddy. You can keep dashing forward, but you just get armors. The ult does not connect. Ride the Fire, playing with this range so masterfully. The positioning has been amazing, as the laser just not going to connect. Zac Attacker going to find Birdo on the back end as Ride the Fire gets away with just a little bit of health remaining, and this is starting to turn into a massacre for Squid Champs. They've parlayed their early advantages into big team fights, but this could be a huge shutdown, as it was the ultimate under turret to set it up for Super Yacht.
Even though they get one shutdown, I just don't think it's enough here. That fight went horribly for Chazz It Up. They keep overforcing. They keep playing their hand a little bit too far forward. They have their ace in the sleeve, but it's just too early for that to happen. And they're also way too far behind as well. But they might be looking for something here. Shiny Weavile is just trying to clear up some wards here, get some of that vision back. But it's just so hard to contest here. This Swain is just as tanky, if not more, than the Leona at this point in the game because he's so far ahead. Gotten so many stacks, a lot of max HP in the back pocket as well. We should have a replay going in right now. And we see Birdo trying for the play here onto Ride the Fire. Almost does have the damage. Collateral damage does go wide, and the charm lands, which does, in fact, give lethal over to the Swain. He's able to find that pick, and Victor, just see him doing negligible damage here. Zac Attacker just constantly healing. That is support, by the way. Have fun, my friend. And we see Fian read it a little bit too far forward. You are a Samira, but you also forget you are an 80 carry. This is a Gnar who's just going to stat check you when he does reach that Mega. Can chain CC and take it down. But they are going to grab up this Rip Herald, though. Great looks from Chazz It Up, able to find that opportunity.
Yeah, it was a nice little pickup for them to get that cross map, but Super Yacht might be in trouble. Has the Hyper, has the Trinity Force movement speed on hit, trying to kite this one out, but doesn't have the tier 1 turret, so forced to flash because Boreal is going to take that Q forward. Will miss the accelerated shock blast that almost certainly would have spelled that little Yordle's doom, but does force the summoner spell, so it's a W nonetheless.
They are able to get at least something back after that losing that Rift Herald, and taking away that Gnar Flash means their engage, or some of their engage is down for 5 minutes. That's pretty huge. Dragon up in 40, that is a great pickup. Burning the Ghost for the Flash, you take that every single day of the week as this Jayce here bees. You don't have TP, the only thing you have is Ghost, and you're going to be willing to burn that for a Flash every day. And we do see that Chazz It Up has a little bit more vision placed down on this bot side here. It's mostly shallow though, not really that deep, so Squid Champs are going to be able to walk through nice and easy, get some aggressive wards down as well. So we'll see what the decision here is coming in from Chazz It Up. They are positioning heavily towards this top side. They are going to use this second Herald, try and get this objective bounty on the top side and give this third dragon here.
Yeah, they are down at about that same 4K rate it's been for the past few minutes, but Tier 2 turrets are worth a lot of gold with the objective bounty on top. Going to be a nice way for them to swing back. This Tier 1 should be falling as well pretty shortly to that wave, so they're going to give away Soul Point here. Chazz it up over to Squid Champions. And you know what? When you're playing the scaling comp, I actually appreciate that. I agree with it. It's the first time it feels like this game they've recognized that they need to wait until they hit their spikes and take consolation prizes, and it's not the Soul Drake. It's just Soul Point. You can start contesting with 4th Drake, and look at that gold lead. They've cut it down to 2K. That's one legendary item. They are in a much better position than they have been in a while in this game.
And we also did forget to mention here earlier in the pre-show that Leandre stacking is a thing now. So,
oh, it is!
Yes. Yes, 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 and it is so funny watching people burn down from so much max HP damage coming in. And same thing with Demonic Embrace. So both those items do stack on top of each other now, and you can take multiple instances of the tick damage, which hurts quite a bit. It's a great thing for the Sway, who should be building that, or the Rylai's very, very soon here. But burn, baby, burn, that's what the name of the game here, and they force the flash off of Fien.
Yeah, that's a great trade already. They don't have to overforce, but they might just be able to finally find a kill onto the Swain, who was forced to use the burst. Gets shut down by Birdo. Measured play from Chazz it up. They bring 5 to a 4v5 fight, and they get a nice little pick on the back half of it. So they get a flash, they get an ultimate. Very clean sweep coming out for the side of Chazz it up here, and they're not even done yet. Fien now not quite hitting that S rank. This is what happened in the lock-in tournament to Squid Champs. They played the early so well, but started to fall apart right at that 20-minute mark, and they might just go right to Baron here, Salt.
Very, very easily. They are going to be able to plan that one up. They have a good chunk of damage to double burn and a Graves as well, who's building full lethality. They are going to be able to shred this objective very, very quickly. They're relying on Boreal to find some poke, though. Maybe get them a low enough for this Ari, for Jay Shmani to find a play here. They find the charm.
Yeah, it was the nice collateral damage just to dodge out on any further aggression, but look at Jay Shmoney with the flank. The first shutdown going on over to Super Yacht on the Gnar. Look at the sustain given by the Seraphine. There's no kills collected despite all of the investment, but Zack Attacker is back here. There's some low health bars, has that Demonic Ascension back available, has the flash, can look for something, but here's Super Yacht over the wall, playing zone, playing the alley-oop, getting that ultimate right into the wall. That's the burst coming through, and Chazz it up. They stopped overforcing, started playing smart, and they are kings of this purple worm. Because of it, they have completely turned this game around.
Surely Seraphine is a balanced champion. Surely that is allowed to exist in this game, right, Riot? Yep.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
It's great. It's really fun and interactive gameplay there. And we see 2 item spikes coming in for a lot of the members on Chazz it up. But taking a look at this Gnar, 7-2-2, 177 CS, the most in the game here. 3 items, and this armor is just super effective up against the Samira, up against the Lethality Jace, up against the Wukong as well. And you can see, what is that in Samira's inventory? Number 2.
Oh
no shot, that
gracious.
is a collector, right? You surely didn't build a collector into a Seraphine, into a Graves, into a Gnar. Surely not.
I like to watch the big number go up when I proc the execute.
It's great.
It's
It's fun.
Salt.
It's a GP item and only a GP item. But we do see, as the game does go later and later, the vision line being pushed back by Squid Champions. They're forcing themselves to walk backwards, and look at those defensive control wards here. But the Super Yacht, oh my goodness!
Nobody can stop this Gnar right now, man.
He is too strong, too powerful. That little Yordle, that Ice Yordle, having a great old time up in the top lane. King of the top lane, king of the island. And pushing, no one can match him. No one can match him.
It's kind of crazy, the evolution that we've seen in Gnar builds as well, right? Because before the Season 12 sort of updates that came in before the durability update, any of that, last season, right, we saw a lot of Gnar, but it was like Divine Sunder or Steric's Gauge, and then they nerfed the crap out of Steric's Gauge, Stride Breaker too a lot, and we stopped seeing Gnar. But now the evolution on Gnar has been play him for mini, right? Play him with the Trinity Force, with the Black Cleaver, shred this armor, chase people down, and then use the Mega Gnar as the piece de resistance, the cherry on top to convert on the kills once you've gotten the poke, and we've seen more of a full carry Gnar style that's still very tanky in Mega, of course, and it's been such a more fun style of Gnar gameplay to watch recently. It's been really, really exciting, and Super Yacht definitely epitomizing it here in this game.
Definitely. Gnar bar almost ready here for this next dragon, spawning up in 20 seconds. This is Soul point for the Squid Champions. If they get this, they have that Infernal Soul in their back pocket. But Super Yacht does not care about any of the damage. Going for it, finds the flash.
Yeah, Flash Randuin's right into the Mega, right into the ult. You couldn't time it better if you tried. That's a huge pick, and that's your main tool for approaching these pits on the back into Squid Champions. That's your range right there, Gon and Jace, and now they can just have a 3-member Cabal here in the mid lane, zone back 5 members of Squid Champs while the rest of the team goes and converts on the Drake. So it feels like the era of Squid Champs has come to a close. The era of Chazz It Up is just begun to dawn, and they want to crack this base while they have a little bit of Baron timer left.
They have a few more seconds left on that timer. I don't think they're going to be able to break too much more. Maybe that tier 2 down in the bot lane. But they are just going to be pushing these waves, rotating towards each other, just playing as a team, playing as a 5 or 4 stack. That is exactly what they want to be doing. Giving Victor solo farm, getting him nice and farmed up here, and playing with these big engage tools, the Seraphine, the Leona, the Gnar, all together as a big cohesive unit, a little death meatball, walking forward until the Gnar hits Mega, and there's the big meatball right there on the top side.
Man, look at that health bar on Super Yacht right now. That is crazy. And it feels like Squid Champions have no way to cut through it anymore. Like, you have all these early game burst champions. Your biggest source of sustained damage was Zac Attacker, who has started to really fall off because your Ana support's income hasn't even finished the second item yet, has the Leandries, which was so expensive to index into as a first item on support. So it really feels like they're running out of options and ways to find late game fights, and we sort of saw this happen in the lock-in tournament too, right? I like how aggressive and well executed Squid Champions early games are, but they need to start picking themselves late game lanes. Like, you don't have to have 3 winning lanes if you have no scaling. Like, what are you gonna do when it gets to this point?
They had winning lanes, they had losing jungle, but for the most part, I think indexing into a early game jungler like the Xin Zhao, potentially Lee Sin if you really like that champ. I still think he is a little hard to pull off.
Sussy.
No matter, a little sus, yes, very, very sus. In fact, I do think the Lee Sin is fun as hell. Don't get me wrong, but he's just so hard to execute on. You might as well just pick, like the Wukong is a great pick as well, but they pick all winning lanes when their jungle matchup is neutral at best, right?
Yeah.
And having 3 winning lanes when this meta goes to 35 minutes, goes to 40 minutes, not really ideal, especially when a champion like Seraphine exists. Doesn't matter how far you put her in the dirt, she will still provide that utility. Leona will always be able to find a solar flare. You have a bunch of dashes, yes, but it doesn't really matter when Swain, your main support, your main way into a fight right now, because the Wukong just finished that Death Stance. It's just super difficult for them to look for angles here. And this Jace, this top lane pick, just not really showing up, which is why we haven't seen too much Jace here. Once the durability patch did hit, we've seen a lot of Gnars who do function very similarly, right? Lane bully, but has amazing team fight. If you're picking a poke champ, put in the mid lane, put in the bot lane, that's where you really want these picks to be showing up here. You want some form of engage, and realistically, everything coming in from Squid Champs is a little short range, other than the Jace.
Yeah, it's not very cohesive outside of lane for the side of Squid Champs. And while we do have a bit of a low state here, Super Yacht just not going to hit that. We got Squid Champs really just trying to turtle and Chazz It Up stalling until this Baron hits the Rift in 10 seconds. I'll tell you what I have been playing that's actually pretty fun. I don't know if it's good, but it's fun. I've been playing Jace with Conqueror and Gore Drinker into like Manamune, Yumu's Ghostblade. So a little bit more scrappy, bruiserish. As Boreal, you don't want to engage that, buddy. Even look at what Super Yacht's doing. This is a 1v4. Look at all the members they're bringing. He's buying so much time. They're flashing arms. Oh, the Baron is just going down. You trade this every day of the week. He almost got the Mega. He might have been able to turn that around if he did. Are you kidding me? Super Yacht popping off on this Gnar.
Trades it 1 for 1. Sure, it is a big pick that they do get, but I don't think that really matters when the bear is picked up and their wave clear is quite horrendous. Swain, who needs to be that wave clear, is only on 2 items, and that second item is a Rylai's. He has no wave clear. They have no real way to match the siege minion. And they are going to be struggling here for the next little bit. Unfortunately, their main split pusher, though, coming in from Chazz It Up, is not going to be able to have that Baron buff, but I think you take that every day of the week. You get that free objective, you get 1,500 gold in exchange for, at most, 600.
Yeah, and we do get a replay coming on in on how Super Yacht played this one out. Break it down for me, Salt.
Alrighty, so the Gnar gets a beautiful jump, will get that attack speed here. Is going to go in onto Boreal, try and trade up some damage to Randuin's, finding that nice slow, and Jay Shmoney uses that Cyclone to try and knock him off, get the damage down, but look at the kiting, the Trinity Force just doing so much work here. He's moving at the speed of sound, moving at Mach 10. The Cyclone, again, used once more, but it's not really enough. They are going to be able to trade it back. Unfortunately, the Mega is not there in time. Otherwise, I think that could have been very scary, but we do have a fight breaking out here in the mid lane, or even bottom river.
Ride the Fire was using that Ahri ult offensively, but Zac Attacker just has no sustain anymore. We saw him impossible to kill in the first 20 minutes of the game, now made of paper as Shiny Weavile forcing Fire's flash, and Chazz up, finally they get to unleash this aggression and have it be a good idea. They have scaled up. They are at the point where they can just do whatever they damn well please, as we see the great TP coming on in from Random Capitals to hold the minion there to set up even more aggression. They'll take this mid lane tier 3. They're not even going for the Drake at this point. They just want the end angle.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way they can match it right now. 2 towers are all that stands in the way from Chazz up and victory here. They scaled up. They got ahead in the mid to late game. Unfortunately, Squid Champions weren't able to match up. They had an early game lead. They just weren't able to put the pedal to the metal, and they're just going to find more kills.
Yeah, they're just farming the champions at this point before the Nexus, even chasing Zac Attacker back to the fountain. But that is game 1 going Chazz Up's way in. It's interesting to say this because I feel like at one point the lead was 17-6 for Squid Champions. But I would say Chazz Up played that game dominantly. By the time they got around to the actual mid-game fights, they never let up. They just kept on winning from that point on. So I want to see a lot of adjustments from Chazz Up, or rather from Squid Champions moving into game 2. That's for sure. As we do get a nice little look at the damage graph here. Ooh, that Gnar.
Oh my goodness, the Gnar. 28,000 damage. He was really a carry there. It wasn't even remotely close. He was having a great time, but I think the main thing that Squid Champions need to recognize is their early game is amazing, but they don't need all 3 lanes to be that way. They don't need to just index all into that. You said so yourself, Dodge. They don't need to do that. All they need to do is have 1 or 2 winning lanes and convert that into a scale, or one of those lanes into a scaling factor, and have an X factor in that late game. It could have been a Kale, it could have been an Ornn. You know, any of those picks there could have worked out really well. GP was banned away, unfortunately, but that is also a great pick as well. One thing, if we do take a look at their draft, though, right, they did pick up the Wukong Swain Samira very, very early, but I really think their draft did fall apart there in second phase. They had great bans. I like the Ashe ban, I like the Senna ban, but grabbing Jace blind, or they knew the Soul Laners, yes, but grabbing Jace and Ahri as your X factors, not really worthwhile as that red side. You have counter, you know exactly what they're doing. It's Gnar and Victor. Pick some champs that are great into it. You could grab the Aurelia if you are good at it. You can grab potentially a Corki here, who Camille as well. A lot of great picks into Gnar. He is very squishy. He is easy to take down in mini form, and they just really didn't find a way to punish Chazz Up in time, unfortunately.
No, they did not, and we'll have to see if they start to opt into more insurance policies when it comes around to game number 2, which will be on the other side of a short break. So hang tight with us. We'll be right back. It's time for game
back.
number 2. Yes, indeed, we are. It is I, Infinite Dodge, joined by Salt Spreader once again. We got some side switching coming in. Gonna be the Squid champs on blue this time around. And I do believe they don't want to, or rather, Solbert doesn't want to make the mistake that Squid Champs made last time and leave that Seraphine up on blue side. And look at that, Gnar taken off the board by Squid Champs. I think they all have PTSD from that little orange fuzzball.
Very, very much so. I think that Nara was absolutely insane. But we see the respect that they're giving over as well. Take a look at what the bans are against Squid Champions. Renata, Seraphine. I think both the supports are in a really good spot. They're both very strong. I think Renata's a little stronger in lane, but Seraphine scales so incredibly well, provides so much utility. But Renata, no slouch yourself. But the Aatrox actually going to be banned away as that final ban. And the Swain is going to be that follow-up here. I think that Swain did what it was supposed to do. It was very strong in the early game, was a key centerpiece there, right? But again, because it is support, because it is stuck on that low income mode, it sort of just fell off. But the Volibear is the solid ban as well. It's a great blind pick jungler, but they are going to grab up that Senna instead.
That's what I'm talking about, Salt. That is a champion that will take over the late game. You don't have to have 3 winning lanes. Now you pick yourself strong solo laners, and you let the Senna do its thing. You might even do a little fasting Senna shenanigans, or maybe a little Dr. Mundo, or something down there to pair up with
Thomas Kench.
Or Thomas Kench, indeed, although he's a little bit boring to watch, so please don't
Very
pick
much
him.
so.
Love to have a get-out-of-jail-free card for my AD carry, but speaking of the scaling, we were just talking in the pregame between sides about the Jinx, and it will be the Jinx coming on through for Chazz it up here, and I think that's just a solid pick.
Yeah. She is rising slowly in priority after, getting a hit with that base HP nerf, but getting buffed back up because of durability. I think she is still a very solid champion. She is that hyper carry and, has range to rival the Senna as well when that late game does hit, especially if she is able to stack up that lethal tempo, and with a rapid fire cannon, she can match it very well. But she does have some very nice lane partners that she wants to be paired up with, like the Tom Kench or a Peel support, but they are going to grab that early game Victor again. They're going to grab... I mean, I think it's a fine pick, right? It just means they're very confident into Ride the Fire's champion pool. They don't really think there's any champ that can really match this Victor at this point, right? And they're giving them all the options.
Taken off the board. That's one of Ride the Fire's specialties, which, interestingly enough, he didn't play it last game. They flexed it for the Samira combo.
You could pick Corki. You could pick Corki.
Yeah. Corki Victor, that would be exciting.
Oh,
it wasn't banned this time, Salt. We got action. And Tarek. This is a great... I'm loving this comp. I don't know if they're going to go Fasting Senna or if it's going to be Farming Senna and Tarek. Either way, I love that lane. This is looking so much more like it from Squid Champs. They have such a good mix of style now. They can really play the late game. But it's going to be the Lulu now being considered for the side of Chazz it up. That would be a nice pair up with the Jinx. And sort of matches the sustain that Tarek can put out in the early game, at least. They're thinking on it. It's locked in. What are we thinking about this first phase?
I think it's pretty solid here. The Akshan is still a little interesting, but it is a pocket pick. Tarek, I really do like here. We haven't seen too much of him, but he really does struggle into DPS compositions. He's not that great there. You do have to use your ulti proactively, and the composition that has been drafted here by Squid Champions isn't very proactive, right? Other than the Akshan, Senna and Tarek themselves are very reactive champs, right? Senna wants to ulti from far away. Senna doesn't want to be the one walking forward, whereas Jinx is great at that, and she is also great at kiting back. Victor wants to play through chokes. So I really do think that it's interesting to pick the Akshan here when there are... I mean, I think you do want an engaged style jungler there, so we'll see what they are going to grab for themselves. But we're taking a look at bans. It's going to be Diana and the Darius. I think Darius is a respect ban, but Diana super strong in the jungle right now. Nash's Tooth. Guess what the mythic is? Sunfire Aegis. That item needs to be nerfed.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Sunfire Aegis, Demonic Embrace, 2-item Diana at level 13 can easily solo the Baron because you're getting 3% max HP damage on every swing of the old... What would you even call her weapon? Is it a sickle?
No, it has a name for himself. Let me find it. I know it has a name.
While you do search for that one, we do have the Lilia and the Fiora being taken off the board. So these top lane fighters.
There we go.
Interesting. They're paying a
Very
lot of
interesting.
respect to these top lane fighters for Super Yacht here, Salt, with the
Mhm.
Darius and the Fiora being taken off the board. And the Aatrox too. That is 4 top lane bans coming through from the Squid Champs. I think they identified what went wrong for them last time, but this is something I've been waiting to see in this meta for
Ooh.
so long. It's gonna be the Kindred locked in the jungle.
I like that a lot, right? It fits into the style that they've drafted themselves quite heavily, but that does mean they are putting Super Yacht on an engaged champ. The Nara's off the table. Or I think they do just need a frontliner at the very least here. I don't think the Kindred
Mm.
ulti and the Lulu is enough to warrant not picking a frontliner, especially with an Akali there as well. You need to be able to dissuade her from joining the fight, but that Lamb's Respite gonna pay dividends here against the Akshan, against the Akali, those who want to look for assassinations, and wow, Squid Champions are heavily
No
indexing into
shot.
one shots, and this once again, they have a piece that doesn't really fit, and it's going to be that Senna.
Yeah, this is wild to me. Kazakh's going to be the lock-in. I get the idea, right? Because you want a champion that will punish the ever-loving crap out of Birdo for going into your jungle and trying to steal marks away. Nothing beats Kazakhs in the early game jungler versus jungler 1v1. You get that isolation passive. You stack up so much damage, as it will be the Gragas locked in there on the side of Chazz up. But let me tell you something, Salt. I'm part of the Kazakhs main subreddit. And Kha'Zix is not having a good time post durability update. He got some compensation buffs, some light ones, I think on 12, 11 to compensate, but still not very strong to the point where Kha'Zix mains right now, they've like resigned themselves to playing Sunfire Kha'Zix. Like they're not playing Kha'Zix for the assassin one-shot burst potential. They're trying to be like a season 3 style pseudo frontline Kha'Zix with the W sustain. It just doesn't do what it used to do in a post durability world. And I just feel like the side of Solbert, they can play with so much range advantage with this comp. It looks really tough right now for the side of Squid Champs.
And yes, Senna has great range, but you're playing into a Kindred, you're playing into a Victor, you're playing into a Jinx. You're the only one who has that range advantage, whereas the entirety of your team is going to be suffering a living nightmare trying to walk through a choke with a Kindred, with Gragas Bales constantly there, with a Victor sending laser after laser, and a Lulu to polymorph whoever walks forward. Yes, Akali's great, but when she gets turned into that little squirrel, she's gonna get curb stomped by the DPS coming out from the entirety of the other side. It's gonna feel terrible playing this Akali.
Yeah, definitely doesn't look the brightest right now for the side of Squid Champs in draft. And while I really liked the Tarek at first, Chazz Up did exactly what you should do when you see Tarek early picked, which didn't opt into any engage, right? Tarek's a counter dive champion. He's a counter engage champion. The entire basis of the kit is built around that. You see the engage start to come in, you press alt, it's on a delay, it comes through. Once they're on top of you, you're invulnerable, you fight back. Or, you know, a Leona or a Nautilus hooks you, you press your E, and they've lined themselves up to be stunned. It's built around the idea of shutting down their engage, and what Chazz Up said is, okay, we'll just play around range. Our only engage champion is Gragas, who is a sick engage champion with the belly bounce, with the barrel, or rather the explosive cast coming out on the ultimate, but that explosive cast is non-committal engage. You can just chuck it on cooldown, especially with the AP Gragas variants we've been seeing in the top lane with First Strike recently. High CDR, go Leandries, right, get all that bonus ability haste, and you can just chuck these barrels on cooldown, and if you get a splash back, boom, you engage. If you don't, you take the chip, you back off, you wait for the CD. So lots and lots of capability to play where you can't get hit with this comp for Chazz Up. And after the turnaround they showed us in game 1, I'd be really, really scared if I was a Squid Champs fan right now.
Yeah, and one thing to note though, with the Taric pick, right? A lot of people are opting into Taric with engage. They want to use it proactively, like a submarine with the Shen. You go in with a champ like the Hacker and with that Taric ulti on him, so he can't get burst down as he looks for a big play here. And they really didn't opt in for that, right? Sure, they could send it on an Akali, but the
Or a
Lulu there,
Kha'Zix, I guess.
or Kha'Zix, yeah, but you want a
It
bruiser to
could
be back
be.
there to bring someone with them, right? Having like Hecarim just pull them in, Skarner as well. Any of those champs pair
Lee
up
Sin
really
even.
nicely. Lee Sin, yeah, get a nice kickback, right? All those champs are really great with the Targ ulti because they're very susceptible to getting burst down. And
Yep.
they do kick a carry or pull a carry towards your team so you can burst them down in exchange, right? So the Targ does prevent that exchange. It's going to be a 1-for-0 instead of 1-for-1 for the most part. But they aren't going to be able to do that because realistically, they don't really have a way into a fight. at
No.
all. They have no way into a fight, and that's kind of scary because the entirety of last comp from Squid Champions was opting into fights with their really, really nice engage. They had Swain, they had Wukong. Now they have none of that. Their only engage is what? A Senna W? And that is
Yeah.
very unreliable way to start off a fight. Maybe a Taric E-Flash, yes, or a Kha'Zix going in from stealth, but at the same time, he could just get burst down while they see that stun coming up. So I just don't know what they were drafting here.
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. It feels like a very big pivot in styles. It almost feels like an overcorrection from last game. But you know what? We see some signature picks coming out. The Action, a big one that was respect banned in game number 1. So we will see if they can make some magic happen. They have been early game maestros so far in all the games I've seen from them. So they just need to convert on that snowball and keep it rolling down the hill. We'll see if they can do it here in game 2 after a short break for the spectator delay. So stay right where you are. We'll return in a moment.
I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. A little stronger now. A little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
It's time for game number 2. Squid champions and Chazzed Up back onto the Rift here for CCS Diamond. Infinite Dodge joined once again by Salt Spreader and Salt. This time we might see some schmoves in the early game from Jay Shmoney and the lads. They are making a 5-man stack.
And there is a pause.
Pause. Not Pog. Very not Pog. We'll just wait and see if we get a report on what this pause here is, but we can take a second, Salt, to break down some of what we see coming out. I think the 5-man stack is as good a way as any to start the early off. If you have the Kha'Zix, maybe you can get the ball rolling early, right? You want a snowball, and you're playing the 2 big assassins, really, the Akali and the Kha'Zix.
Definitely. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's the report coming in on the earpiece. You guys can't hear it, but we can from production. Just waiting for a little bathroom break. It happens. It's a Friday night. It's a hot one. I'm sure we're slamming back a lot of water, so I know I am. Gotta answer nature's call, and we'll get back in the game in no time at all. But in the meanwhile, we can talk a little bit about what we do expect to see here. If this level 1 plan that we have started up doesn't get up to snuff for the side of Squid Champions, where do they play through in the early to try and find the dominance that they had last game?
I think they play for the Akshan. I think that's the way they have to make it happen. Push down the Victor as well. I think that's the best way to play it out. Make sure this Victor takes a while to get his stacks rolling and then take him down. Yes, we are back in live time, so we'll see what is going to happen here. They could be looking for something here onto this Jinx, but she does have flash, she has exhaust. And Tark is going to start that E. They should spot him out here. And we are going to get the buffer.
This is so perfect. This happens for those of you who are not producers. This happens every time there's a pause. There's a second little freeze after. And I've never seen it so cinematic in my life, but they trade flash for flash. Oh, that was beautiful, man. You couldn't plan that better if you tried, but they'll get some nice deep vision you have to feel here onto the enemy blue buff, so they will know where it will be Birdo's start, and Birdo's backing might start that blue.
And one thing to note here, it's actually farming Senna, something we have not seen in a while.
Yeah, it's better now. They buffed it recently. It's 8% soul rate drop on farming now, so definitely not... What has Riot wrought upon us? What is this that we are seeing on our screen? The bugs and the glitches in the replay tool, they never end. But worry not, we'll be back to live gameplay soon enough, I'm sure. But yeah, that farming Senna, as you point out, not troll like it was a little while ago, and it is a little bit harder to fast with the Taric. I would be more of a fan of giving the Taric that income, because I think as far as supports go, he scales really well with gold.
Oh, yes.
But... you know, it's still fun. Still perfectly acceptable to play the farming center. You're going to get a decent amount of souls, especially if you're landing your poke. So no harm, no foul there. And brings a little bit of pressure off Zac Attacker to be able to CS on Taric, which isn't the easiest if you're not used to it.
They are landing into double range, though, and Senna can't focus purely on poke, which is what she usually did when she does have that Spectral Sickle. I think that's what it's called, that AD support item. So it is just going to be farming, so she is going to have to play a little bit more respect there, because the Jinx will be able to trade back very nicely, because she can't rely solely on Q, because she does have to farm.
Yeah, we already have some heavy trading coming out in mid. Are you kidding me? Ride the fire.
That's Sean.
Yeah, and there's a reason this pick was respected from the side of Chazzed Up to be banned out in game number 1. It can be really, really scary early game.
And we do see the Gragas here is going to be farming here with Q. Going to be chilling for the most part. The tier stack is going to be really nice. I'm surprised he didn't get a stack off of that. It might be just a visual bug here. But it is just going to be standard stars here. Both these junglers pathing up towards this top side of the map here. Kha'Zix is opting in to do both the blue buff and the Gromp at around the same time here. Going to be able to clean up those camps nicely. He's just going to grab the Gromp, actually. Did not start the blue buff here, and looking for something here. Maybe looking to try and invade this Kindred on her red, because this Kha'Zix does have does have the red buff as well. But Kindred already starting that one off. Does have the smite, does not have the smite. So it is going to be a smite fight, but it's very in favor of Jay Shmoney. But the fire, already invis.
That was so close, man. The way they almost had Birdo in a crazy pinch there, but the ward was so good. Obviously I knew Ride the Fire was coming, even though he was in stealth the entire time he moved through the river, because obviously Random Capitals will just call it out. Hey, he's gone. I saw him going to river. Look out. They had the ward to spot out the angle Kha'Zix took. Kha'Zix took it the long way, but Birdo kited the red buff to exactly the correct side, as I don't think the scoreboard is updating here. If we get a little scoreboard refresh, get that CS back up. Thank you so much. And we look, that's a lot of wasted tempo from Jay Shmoney. Fell behind and farmed pretty significantly off that, about a camp and a half.
That's pretty insane, all things considered, right? As this Kindred, you don't farm nearly as well in the early game. As you get items, you farm better than the Kha'Zix, but even with this first strike here, this value not really popping off here for this Kha'Zix, but should be able to potentially grab the scuttle, or it did grab that scuttle up in the top side. We do see the Kindred moving towards this bottom mark. Oh no, it was the top mark, so that's very unfortunate. Not going to be able to get that early game mark for herself here, but they could be looking for a little rotation here towards this mid lane, or maybe to try and catch Kha'Zix on a rotation, but he is clearing up his blue buff. So Ride the Fire, though, kind of chunked out here, and Lulu's here as well.
Oh, this looks really good. Has to use both of the mobility abilities there, the E and the flash, to get on out of a scary situation. That's going to feel good for Chazz Up. They get that early flash on Akshan, makes him a lot deadlier, or a lot less deadly, I should say, going forward or running back.
And burning that flash is great, and we do see Kindred going to be able to grab up at least the bottom scuttle. No mark, unfortunately, but at the very least, she does get something in her back pocket. But we do see this Jinx is going to be able to farm on this wave nicely, and she was left alone for at least a minute and a half there by the Lulu. So all things considered, this Jinx is in a great position.
Yeah, picked up a lot of extra XP, and should be able to keep pace very well in this game. Wasn't bullied out in the 1v2 whatsoever, because, as we mentioned, Tarek's not an engaged champ, right? We look at most of these melee champions, and they're either conditionally engagers, even with the other vanguards in the game, like Thresh and TK, you still have Abyssal Dives forward, you still have Death Sentences, right, that can act as engage tools, but Tarek has nothing to really go forward except running at you with Eon, so not very scary at all to leave your Jinx 1v2 down there, especially with the exhaust. Flash will be coming back up soon, so very well played from Chazz Up so far. They are Bing chilling, they're scaling. It is a little bit rough that they didn't get that mark, like you pointed out, but that all goes back to the level 1, right? They didn't trade vision. It was Squid champions that got the early deep vision, and Chazz Up didn't take advantage, so they didn't know where Kha'Zix was, and Kindred, she sort of banked towards getting that mark on the bot side, and it didn't wind up working, couldn't find the Wraiths, so just going to be waiting to get that first opportunity here.
Definitely. Kha'Zix did grab that first back, though. She is coming back with a serrated Dirk, going to be in a great position to look for duels here. But Ride the Fire, maybe playing with fire here, as Kindred is back here in the mid lane. Does have the heroic swing, though, to get himself back out there.
Very hard to nab down that Akshan, right? To lock him in place long enough to find the damage. Going to have to take a very well-placed gravity well from Random Capitals. And it's a very different game state than it was last time around. Squid Champions, they drafted so much more scaling in the bot lane, and they haven't been able to make the most of their early aggressive moves. They tried to find a good level 1 on the Solbert, but it didn't go through. So we've hit 6 minutes. I'm pretty sure at 6 minutes last game we had like 10 kills between these two teams, and we're at 0 right now. So definitely just waiting for something exciting to happen. Super Yacht did get the reset off, so has plenty of mana. Jay Shmoney gonna find a cross map invade.
I'm going to grab up those Krugs, and there's not really anything for the Kindred to answer with at this point. Could potentially trade it for a Dragon, but she would probably lose her next rotation of the Raptors as well. Next set of buffs are spawning up here as well, but we do see this Kindred may actually be looking to start this Dragon up or potentially invade for the red buff, but we'll see what she does opt to do. We do see the pings, though. She wants to go over the wall.
Yeah, waiting for the Q. Finally comes back up, going to bring Shiny Weevil along for the ride. Go and pick that up. That was a whiff and a half on that explosive cask. I mean, it was blind, just trying to aim it where you last saw the Akali in the Shroud, but Super Yacht's in a pretty bad spot now. This is not tank Gragas. This is full AP Gragas with 2 members on the top side and the wave slow pushing out, really stuck in this lane where it'll be easy pickings. Even we see Ride the Fire coming up now on the Akshan. This feels like it's going to be a first blood unless Super Yacht can read it. Yeah, that is the perfect execution coming out from Boreal, but it was a little bit telegraphed, showed the hand a little bit early before the backup was really there, so Super Yacht gonna use that E, just get on under turret, doesn't even have to flash.
No teleport, unfortunately, but we'll be able to sustain that mana nicely with the tier. No more cookies left in the back pocket, though. Kindred, seeing that play, is going to opt to go straight for this Dragon here. Victor has the priority. Akshan also roamed up to the top side, so they are going to trade the Dragon for this red buff here. But Kindred should be able to get the rest of her jungle, should be A-okay with that. And soul stacking here as the scaling comp. Oh, that is not what the Squid champs wanted here.
No, not at all. But it basically became that split map situation, right? Like you point out, it's been Kazakhs hovering topside for so long now, waiting for the camps to respawn to go and grab them. Nice little ward onto the Wraiths here now from Random Capitals. We'll be able to take a look-see. A nice defensive ward and Tri-Brush too, but I don't know if it's enough. I mean, should be EN flashback available, but Super Yacht really eating a lot of harassment in this top lane. But Jay Shmoney, what are you doing? You had flash. He's gonna die to the turret. Once that beam was in the air, there was no escaping it. Super Yacht once again popping off despite being camped pretty hard. This is looking real bad for Squid champs.
We do see a little bit of a scuffle down to the bot side. Not much going to come of it, though. Both of them have hit level 6. No Hugify there on the Lulu just yet. But Solbert is running a little bit low on mana, but has a pretty solid CS lead. Again, mostly laning, or did have a 1v2 lane phase for a good chunk of it. But, you know, building up to either that Gale Force or the Kraken Slayer here, I think either is very solid. But we do see his Kindred hovering in the mid lane, but Akshan does have that flash available. They weren't able to punish that timer very effectively. But that is the case when it is a Victor. He is not really the greatest 2v2 champ. He is a decent laner, especially with Scorch Airy, but not a great 2v2 champ just yet until he upgrade, which he should have in the near future.
Yep, basically doubles the damage output without the W upgrade either. Only has one hard CC that's very, very hard to land. Has to be used in a choke with some setup to begin with usually. And it's definitely a tough ask to get the Victor to snowball early, but you know what? You don't have to do that, right? You just have to neutralize the Action from doing the same, and they've
CS.
done so perfectly so far. Nice little CS lead coming through to sort of counteract the CS lead that Boreal's been able to build up here in the top lane against Super Yacht. And I've played this matchup before. I'd rather be playing tank Gragas into the Akali, personally. It feels pretty rough for the AP Gragas, I think.
I gotta agree with you there. I think Tank Gragas feels a lot better into the Akali, but you do have the actual potential to one-shot her. And she is building that Riftmaker, though, which is fairly interesting. Seeing the items that she bought earlier, she had a Amp Tome, Ruby Crystal, and a Blasting one. She could have actually opted towards a Rocket Belt instead after seeing the Gragas come back with that Alternator. But we see Jay Shmoney might die for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, it does pick it up and wasn't CC'd. Has a Blast Cone, has the ult, so does get on out of there with his life intact and a Herald now to commit towards a plate play. Once again, we see Lulu roaming all the way up, has missed out on so much lane XP, only level 5 right now, doesn't have that wild growth yet available, but Solbert's still not under any threat, can just safely catch this wave and is big chillin'.
Yeah, he's having a great time. Oh, wait, this could be a big play here. Akali not going to get caught out by the tower, unfortunately, though.
Yeah, it was a nice thought from Super Yacht. Definitely better than the last explosive cask aimed at Akali we saw. So, A for effort. Still going to be down about 20 CS, neutralizing it a little bit with the kill score. And as long as you're not feeding, you're going to outscale in a big way when it comes to those 5v5 fights. Find the big AoE damage. But if you're going to get solo killed, it doesn't quite matter as the last turret shot doesn't find the equalization of that play. So, Boreal finally popping off here in this top lane.
That was so unbelievably close here, but we do see the rocket. Wait.
Nah, no shot.
No,
no
it's
shot.
not gonna hit.
Way
no
off
shot.
target. Trying to catch the back, but Boreal counterintuitively greeting and not.
Oh.
What? I wish I could understand. That's actually really unfortunate because look at that wave state. He can TP back and freeze this in her face. Oh no, it's gonna slow push out.
It's fine,
it's not
it's fine,
enough
it's fine.
minions. Okay, it's fine.
It looked horrible from the minimap for a second there.
It did. But, I mean, at least Super Yacht does still get a shove off, so we'll get a bounce and another reset to get off while Boreal's all still dead, going to force the TP to catch this wave under turret. Or, you know what, can even roam if he doesn't have money to find anything off this reset. I don't like staying
He didn't have anything
plate,
off the reset, but we do see Super Yacht could look for a play here. He only has a little bit of gold in the back pocket, not really anything to write home about. No money for the Mythic just yet. A little short in that respect, but we do see Mark spawns up here. And if we could take a look at Kindred Marks here, I don't think she is having a great time here. Hasn't really found the opportunity to look for Marks. She is at 3. She gets the next one. She gets the 4th. Oh, Solbert gets that nice blast cone there. But Rift Herald going to be used in the bot side.
Yeah, was just sort of the logical place to try to accelerate with that Herald. As we saw how this went for you last time, so yeah, don't get too big for your britches here with the Groggy Ice Pro. You don't want to overcommit and wind up getting solo killed again, especially now that Boreal has that Mythic complete. That Riftmaker can offer lots of sustain and ramping damage along with the Conqueror. Very synergistic, but I think that should be Kindred. No, she's just invading to invade. I don't think that was the... Oh, no, it was. It was the mark. I just didn't see it on the minimap. So that's 4. That's the big milestone, right? That's, like, the really decisive one on Kindred. Everything past that is gravy, but now you're starting to unlock your bonus range. You're starting to unlock tons of damage on this Kindred, so it's really going to be rough as we go later. And now Birdo in the perfect place at the perfect time. The Shuriken flip landed onto Super Yacht. Boreal going to take it and maybe find the escape. Going to...
Wait.
I don't even know how he got past that cask. Doesn't matter. It's right. It's the alley-oop right into Capitals to pick it up. But was that the second proc of the ult to get past the cask?
Yeah.
Okay.
Used R2 to get out of there, but we see Jay Shmoney looking for a play on the boss side, but we do see the ward going to spot him out, so they aren't going to be able to make a big play. Even so, I don't think there is a play to be made. Here are Kha'Zix. What are you going to do to a Lulu Jinx?
Yeah. Unless you're playing from Fog, catching them overextended, you can't really engage proactively onto them. You have no hard CC. It is the Wild Growth available as well as all 4 sums. So many defensive opportunities for Chazz up here. And the one thing that kind of went Squid Champ's way in that exchange was they did cross-map while the Kindred was invading topside. They took a Drake for themselves, but it's a solo win Drake, right? It's not the most impactful thing in the world.
It is Ocean Soul, and I think that soul is kind of weak numbers-wise. It only regens about, like, maybe 300 HP over 4 seconds. That's, like, 50 or 70 HP a second. So, and that's at late game when you get all those Drakes. So it's kind of the weakest one. So unfortunately for Chazz It Up, who do want to wait for later Drakes, not a great one to grab up here, especially because Ocean Drake is kind of the worst dragon to have past lane phase here. Oh, the flash fail!
Yeah, that's not a connection there. At least he'll go invulnerable right in time. Will Zack Attacker to live with his dignity. But Birdo doesn't want to let him escape. Now will go into the Lamb's Res, but to set it up for Solbert. This was the range we were talking about. The flash follow with the lethal tempo. The Rockets will find the double kill for Chazz It Up. That is exactly what we were afraid of, man.
Wait, there's no wave! What?
No! Jay Shmoney, you're getting solo killed by Groggy Ice Bro on the dive attempt, and he will find it with the flash belly bounce! Boreal will find one back at least, but man, things are falling apart for Squid Champs.
They saw the wave died, and they still went for the play, and they traded it 1 for 1, and that's a dive trading 1 for 1. Victor gets a tower, but here we go. The Jinx just flashing for it. That's Gala style right there. Gonna be able to get 2 kills there, and at the same time, Gragas gets 3. So overall, a 3 for 1 in favor of Chazz It Up on the scaling composition. And they see the minion die. They're like, they start back up. No, I'm going in. And then they sort of just die. The Senna ulti helps out a little bit, survives the tower shot. Doesn't mean anything because Greggy has E-Flash, takes him down, but it is going to be traded back 1 for 1, but the bot side of the map already lost so much. And they lost mid tower too.
Yeah, that's double tier 1s. Look at the way this gold lead has exploded now here at 16 minutes. It's 3K in favor of Chazz It Up. And Solbert, we said it in the pre-show, Salt. You were the one who pointed out that Solbert, often the centralizing component of most of the teams that he's on, a storied player in the plat scene, and coming on up to CCS Diamond and looking real good on this Jinx in Game 2. This double marksman comp from Chazz Up finding so much, and they're going to find a little bit more. The engage forward, but maybe it's a bit of an overextension as Solbert now forced to take that Lulu ult that can just turn right onto Jay Shmoney, who's been isolated on his lonesome. Now it's up to Boreal to find the carry potential through the back line, but they've already taken out so many members. Will trade the shutdown onto the Jinx, but it's just a 2 for 3 for Chazz It Up, and Zack Attack is low, can't do anything on the map. Second Herald will go over to Chazz.
Normally you say a trade when you're behind is a win, but your comp needs to have kills. You need to be trading upwards every single time, but they were trading downwards there. They lost 3 members, only got 2 in return. Sure, they got the tower. That's maybe, what, 250 gold because they already lost those plates early. But this Rift Herald should equate to about 300 there if they are able to use that on a tower break it. So overall, just a big trade in favor of Chazz It Up, and they're the ones who are the scaling comp. They are more than okay with taking these trades because even if they lose a little bit, I don't think there's a way for Squid Champions to scale or to snowball out of control at this point, especially when their Kha'Zix is 0-3, their Akshan is 1-2, down 40 CS. They're in just such a rough position with the champions they've picked, and that, I think, mostly has to do with the nature of their composition here.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of synergy in their comp. Unfortunately, we were worried about how they were going to find engage. They have very little hard CC, and it's just basically been sort of what we expected, where they haven't even been able to use their early game pieces effectively in the early game, didn't get ahead like they did last time around, and now they're just kind of screwed around these 5v5s unless they find these picks on the like of Shiny Weavile. But when he has the wild growth to set it up for Solbert and Capital's coming from the flank, it isn't even going to matter. Look at this, the reinforcements arriving. Look at Super Yacht on the flank, and that's going to be the Tyrek ultimate ticking off as well, so there's no more protection left for Squid Champs, but they might just find the Gragas, even though the Gravity Well's in the midst of them, and now it's Boreal trying to get onto the backline again, but they've traded 1-for-1 so far, and now the range means the chase down with the Get Excited going to come through. Look at that AoE off the Rockets! That is Solbert popping off. They played it slow, they played it measured, they played it correctly to jazz it up.
Oh my goodness, Solbert popping off here. The key piece here in game number 2. Super Yacht was that hyper carry game 1, but this time Solbert's put on the carry pants. Solbert's picked up the Jinx and looking to take down these towers like Jinx did in Arcane.
Yeah.
Let's go, taking a look at the replay. Super Yacht had a great engage. Boreal is able to sneak their way into the backline though, but they just cannot find the execution onto Birdo, and the Jinx finally stacking up that lethal tempo during that fight is just able to pop off. Look at the damage, it's not even remotely close. They're getting AoE down, and the flash forward, they're able to grab 1, they're able to grab 2, and Zack Attack can do absolutely nothing but watch, and Kha'Zix should be able to make their way out of this one. Oh, maybe not. Jaish Money is going to be taken down as well. Birdo gets that one.
Yeah, it was a full wipe, and meanwhile in live things only got worse for Squid Champs. It was that second Herald used to crack the base, pick up that mid lane inhibitor, so that's free pressure streaming on down the mid lane, and there's no wave clear on this Squid Champs composition, right? Not unless Action's really ahead, only sitting on the Mythic right now. Against Supers, that's not going to do very much, so it takes both Marksman members here on Squid Champs just to address that mid wave. As Super Yacht might be trading his life in attempt for getting this tier 2, but it's a good cask to try and give himself some self-heal, and that tier 1's still up. He has refuge he can get to. He has sick healing on the passive as well, so it's no harm, no foul, no danger at all. But now Solbert may be caught out, but he has the reinforcements, man. FF, it's over. Go
This
next, Squid Champs.
This was looking kind of rough there. They couldn't even kill Super Yacht up on the top side. Like they're just not able to find these flash combos or dash combos with the Taric. But they may be looking for a pick here. Blue buff is going to go over to Birdo.
Yeah, but look at this. It's just numbers advantage for Chazz. Taric can't go anywhere. He can't do anything. He flashes right into the zap. And that is just going to be an absolute wash for Chazz Up. Didn't even have the Cosmic Radiance available to try and live through that one. And this is just going to be a free Baron setup. Maybe the side lane pick onto Capitals, though. It was a nice play around the Gravity Well into the stopwatch, but Boreal should have that Q back, should have the damage. But look at that, it'll be traded! Yes, it will. Random Capitals going 1-for-1. It feels done and dusted at this point, man.
Victor trading 1-for-1 against one of his hardest counters feels amazing there. The Akali did have the damage, but unfortunately this itemization is not the way it, especially when you want to play the style you want, right? You want that rocket belt, you want that execution damage, you want to be going in looking for big plays here. Your target is not the Gragas, your target is this Victor. And sure, rocket belt is a little bit worse after the patch, after durability update, but it's not enough to warrant not going it, especially into champs like the Victor, like the Jinx here. Demonic Embrace as well, opting fully into DPS, but you just need burst here in this game. Squid Champs need to find a target and assassinate them ASAP. They have Akshan, who is almost able to take out Solbert. They have Jaish Money on the Kha'Zix again. That's all they're looking for. Assassination of targets, key pieces. They want to take out Solbert. They want to take out Random Capitals or Birdo. Those are the 3 pieces that they want to take down. Even Lulu, Shiny Weevil, is not a bad pick to look for as well, who is providing so much peel. The Hugify doing so much, those constant shields, having a great time, and oh, Jaish Money, you are going to be in a rough position, my friend.
Yeah, that's not your jungle anymore, man. You can't be there. Does actually get out with his life, burning the flash and the ultimate, but Boreal thought it was potentially a flank angle. The problem with the idea of just dive the backline is there's 3 backline threats, as you point out, Salt, so you can try and use all your attention on killing one, but the other 2 are just going to kill you in the meantime, and it feels like the end angle could be coming in. This Baron is going to be expiring fairly soon, but they can still crack into the base, and they just feel so far ahead that you can get the flash cask, and it will be Super Yacht actually falling. Couldn't get the Lamb's Respite over to him, could Birdo, so this might be the chance finally for Squid Champions to show us something, but look at the kiting capability of Chazz Up, and now they bring in Capitals on the TP, so they offer a lot of zone control as well. No longer can Squid Champions afford to chase through these lasers, through these gravity wells. It'll be the second inhib picked up now.
They are going to grab up that one for themselves as well and look to escape the base right here. Boreal can look for a play.
Yeah, he's been continually going forward on this Akali, really the only one with the damage to find any threat, but still having this Baron buff means there's some refuge for the side of Chazz Up, but it is finally the Kha'Zix popping off, goes into the back line and assassinates a target and is going to run away now, finally playing to the game plan, but another TP coming back. Super Yacht has re-hit the map, so it's just going to be Jay Shmoney essentially trading 1-for-1 in the extended exchange, and now Capital's really popping off, using this laser to its fullest potential, chasing 3 members back into the fountain single-handed while his team cracks these Nexus turrets. Explosive Cast not going to get the clean knockback onto Faye, and so it does set up another pick. And Chazz Up, you don't want to overextend. You don't want to throw at this point. There's going to be a Drake in 10 seconds. Go and pick that one up. You can make another pass at the base after that.
Yeah, and having these inhibs down does give a lot of income over to Squid Champions. They are going to be able to farm them up, but as you said, low wave clear composition, they are going to be stuck in their base for quite a little bit, but why are they extending? They don't need to do that. They can just stay in their base, farm with these supers, and they did get their mid inhib back. The siege went on for 5 minutes, and they did lose that source of income. Waves can now push against them towards the enemy base.
It's only 24 minutes. Like, it's not even the Soul Drake for Chazz Up. You just got a respite and a reprieve with Super Yacht overextending in base twice for kills. So you pick him off the map, you get some income back, and you only have to deal with 1 wave of supers now. You can put some money back where you need it. Don't go contesting a Drake that the best case scenario is you win a 50-50 and trade Jay Shmoney's life for it. Just go and hit your camps that are up, go and clear these waves, and hope you can turtle through. But the go button has always been being pressed from Squid Champions all throughout this series. I don't think they know how to leave their foot off the gas.
They keep looking for plays, and that's exactly what they need to do. They just don't have the composition for it. Their comp is all about small assassinations with their high single target damage champs. Akshan, great single target. Akali, great single target. But the fact that Chazz Up just won a 5v5 death ball means that there's just nothing that Squid Champions have a chance to do. And this Turk just providing very low value this game, unfortunately, because of the composition built around it.
Yeah, as Jay Shmoney forced to jump away. Doesn't want that fly swatter to come on down on top of him. Can't collect his blue buff. The jungle now belongs to Chazz Up, and the one issue that I could foresee happening, and I don't necessarily see it happening, but I think it's the only thing Squid Champions can play for at this point, is it's full map control for Chazz Up, right? But when you have full map control, that means you have to keep vision on a full map, and when you can't do that, it means flanks come through. This is a split fight. They don't have their mid laner. That's the Cosmic Radiance coming down. Solbert going to be taken out so early, and this was the play that Squid Champions were looking for, as that's the shutdown onto the opposing member. The Victor finally here, but it's too little too late. Can't turn it even through the Lamb's Respite, and now it might just be the full wipe coming through, although Random Capital's cutting this one out nicely. The aggressive flash to find Jay Shmoney. He saw the angle from the vision off the minions. It looked so good for Squid Champs to finally find some sort of comeback angle, but in the end, that's just a 2 for 3, while Supers go and take your last Nexus turret.
And that looked like on the up and up for Squid Champs, but the fact that the Victor was just able to pop out so much damage with the help of Shining Weavile, pretty insane work there. You said it yourself, they have 3 carries, they got 2 of them, but 1 was able to make it happen. The Lamb's Respite did buy some time for this Victor to get there in time. Oh, they are still
Oh,
fighting.
never mind. We're right back to live. Not to cut you off, Salt Spreader, but the action never stops between these two teams, as it might finally be a pickoff onto this squishy support. Ride the Fire wants it so bad, but now he's overextended. He's in the midst of the wave. He's in the midst of the well, and it's the flank coming through from Super Yacht. He's found these deep TPs over and over again this game, and that should be what seals the deal. 3 members strong in the top lane. Jinx on the mid lane. Super's coming through bot. It's 3 lanes of control and an open Nexus right now. Squid Champs, I think, have performed their last hurrah here in this one.
Yeah, this is going to be it here. Solberg may die, but I don't think it really matters at this point here.
Nah, Lulu Diff doesn't even die to the Kazakhs. Looking for the angle to maybe try and take him out there, but reevaluates, reprioritizes, and says, let's just win the game, which they easily shall. Zac Attacker, but a Paper Tiger in front of a storm to the forest that is Chazzed up as they close on out this game. Gonna pick up the easy 2-0, clean and smooth in our inaugural series here of CCS Diamond. Very, very well played across the board.
And good looks coming in from Chazz it up. We did not get the chance to see them in the lock-in tournament, unfortunately, but they were able to make things happen here. Take a commanding 2-0 series against Squid Champions, who you were a little hyped about in the beginning.
To be fair, Squid Champs not playing with their full roster, right?
That's true. That's true.
A lot in the jungle role, wasn't available here tonight. I believe I saw him in chat saying he was on vacation, so I hope you're enjoying your vacation. But in the meanwhile, it's definitely going to be a rough little beginning to the season, but plenty of games left to play as we do take a look at this post game here. Big damage, unsurprisingly, coming out from the Victor, from the Jinx, even Gragas, even though it wasn't as good of a performance for Super Yacht as the Gnar, still popping off here. And Boreal tried what they could on Akali, but it just wasn't enough in the end.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Boreal did what they could with the pick. Akali is great when you're looking for assassinations, but laning it or playing up against a Lulu, a Gragas, it's just so hard to look for your picks that you're supposed to be doing. Your one job is to dive the back line and take out one key target, and then just annoy everyone while being in that shroud. But you can't annoy the back line when you're constantly polymorph, when you're dealing with the Gragas throwing casks, throwing his body everywhere, and
how do you
really
dive
have
a
a dive
back line
partner
with Lamb's Respite and Wild Growth, man?
That's
Like,
true
how
too.
do you do it?
It's just so insane. And you also have no dive partners, no dive buddies to go on with you to draw some of the attention as well. Like, it's fine for you to go in first, use that double, use that Zonias, but you don't really have anyone that can follow you and stay alive in order to buy time for you to come out of your shroud and have your cooldowns back up. So that's just, again, I think it all comes down here to draft for both games here. Squid Champions knew what they wanted to do, but they're just not able to draft very well. And we do have a little bit of a replay coming on here, but I mean, it's just really unfortunate for Squid Champs. They had an idea, they just weren't able to make it work here.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe Champ Pool may just be a little bit lacking in the draft. Yes, sub situations as well. But I don't really think it's the sub's fault either. I really just think it's just purely draft. And yeah, that dive was just so tragic. So tragic. If we take a look at some highlights here.
Yeah, we did see them with the potential to win early games for Squid Champions in game number 1, so I'm excited to see what they bring us next week. But we are going to leave you guys here with the highlights, and then it looks like the series is still going over on Nameless, who are casting another series here tonight of Dorado versus Goldfish. So we will leave you guys with that in just a second, but... Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry. We have an interview. I wasn't sure on the interview, but that's pretty good. I would say Super Yacht's one of my MVPs of this year, so I'd love to bring Super Yacht in as soon as we do get that arranged. I don't know if we're doing the whole highlight reel first. All right, we're going to do an intermission, I am hearing, and then we will go on over to an interview with the winning top laner of Super Yacht. So stay tuned, enjoy the playback of the highlight reel, and we will be right back.
take my hand and we'll go away to a different place. Float on air and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, get ready to begin and just levitate.
I wish all my players were this enthusiastic, man, when I brought them on for an interview.
True.
But yeah, we're back. It is I, Infinite Dodge and Salt, once again. We've got Super Yacht of the We Love Solbert, Chazz it up here. The big carry player in game number 1. The less big, but still very rotund carry player in game number 2 on the Gragas. How you feeling, man? How'd that series go for you?
I mean, we chazzed it up. That's like
You did,
all I
bro.
can say.
Chazz it up.
We chazzed it up.
That is a Yu-Gi-Oh reference, yes?
I think so.
I'm fairly certain. I've never heard it in any other context, so I'm going to choose to believe. Yeah, it was a great performance coming through for you. We've heard from a lot of people when we were doing our scouting on Chazz It Up that Solbert, obviously, the focus of a lot of the teams he's on. It's a very bot-side focused team in a lot of ways. I think we saw that with the Jinx in game 2. So what's your approach generally to coming in on top lane, and how do you want to approach these games when you know you might not be getting the most attention?
So I think like the best top laners right now are they all have like a similar laning phase. You know, they're before their first back, they're usually pretty weak. Like I think Gnar, Gragas, Gangplank are like really good blind picks, and like they all play their most of the lanes a similar way. You just
Right.
try to chill before your first back, and then once you get your first recall is when you start being able to pressure a lot. And honestly, there's like most of these lanes, there's not a lot of like counterplay to them. Like Gragas, you get your Hextech, what do you call it, revolver, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people can't survive the poke. Gangplank, you get your Sheen. Gnar, you get your Ninja Tabais, and then it's just smooth down from there.
Yeah.
Definitely. Salt, you have you want to take one here? We'll alternate a little bit. Any big
Alrighty.
questions for the man himself?
Gotcha. So I want to ask you a quick question here about draft. So what was your game plan going into, facing the super aggressive team that is Squid Champions, right? And I did notice you did grab up a lot of scaling picks. So were you guys confident in being able to deal with their early game, just weathering the storm?
Yeah, I mean, so when we saw like when I saw the Wukong pick in game 1, I think we were pretty relaxed because, you know, Wukong is really good at team fighting, but he's not a super proactive jungler in the sense of something like Rek'Sai, Volibear, maybe like Diana. You know,
Mhm.
it's not as aggressive as picks like these. So we were just I think we were just comfortable picking up some scaling picks after this, playing for the team fight. Similar thing game 2, you know, we saw like the Senataric, which again I think is kind of passive. So we were
Yeah.
also comfortable that game, just picking scaling.
Yeah, definitely. Very reactive too. I loved your guys' draft in game 2. It felt
Mhm.
like you had an answer for absolutely everything they had. They tried to dive the back line, you turn on Kindred ult. They try and dive the back line, you turn on Lulu ult. And then you didn't play any champions that had, well, you were sort of the sacrificial lamb. You were the only one who really had to go forward, and maybe that contributed to a couple more deaths there in game 2 than game 1. But, Tarek couldn't even really deal with you on his own because you had the burst with the AP build. How do you feel about AP Gragas versus Tank Gragas? Because we were sort of discussing it during the game that maybe Tank would have been a bit more comfortable for lane, but AP looked good late.
Yeah, so I was missing like I don't know if you guys saw my farm, but when I played tank Regulus, so you take the attack speed shard. I did not take the attack speed shard this game,
I
and
see.
I was eating shit for it because I was like mistiming my last hits and stuff. So,
Oh.
uh, besides that, I we were talking about it. I think like the general gist of it is like the best defense is more offense. Um, we have
You
the
know what,
Kindred ult,
Pog?
we have the
Facts.
Lulu, we have like a lot of damage. So if even if I go tank, right? Like I mean, if you look at these fights, right? I don't think you might make the argument, hey, if I was playing tank, then I would have survived more. But so I think that I was just a bit off sync with my team. I was kind of quiet when I'm making my engages, so I wasn't really
Mhm.
like saying like,
Mhm.
"Hey, give me Kindred ult here," like Lulu ult me, or like I'm going in now, right? And I think
Right.
that it was more a symptom of me just being a little bit off sync than it was like my build. But I did for my third item. I actually went like the wrong third item. I should have went Zanya's. I don't know why I built Banshees. I think I just wanted to like I built like the what do you call it, the null magic mantle, and then I was just
A little bit stuck at that point.
yeah, I think I misclicked. I meant to hit stub push, but I hit like no magic mantle, and then after that, I'm just like I don't feel like selling it.
You know
Just
what?
finish the item.
Chad move. Chad move.
No
You
wasting
gotta
money
play
here.
the hand you're dealt. I like that. And you know what? Honestly, you can make the argument that if you played tank in game two, maybe you would have survived some more. But I do like the self awareness to say, no, it was a comms issue. I should have been a bit more
Mhm.
upfront about my engages. That's definitely on point there. But you know what? Your team didn't need you to survive. Your team just needed you to buy time, which you did. You did plenty of
Yeah.
damage, so
Yep.
it was cool. Salt, you have any final questions here before we wrap it up for the evening?
What were comms like here? Things were looking a little rough in the early game for game one. I want to know how the team dynamic felt, at least there.
I mean, shout out to my jungler. Like we sort of knew where the Akshan and my mid laner. Like we every time these Akshan and Kazakhs try to go for an invade, like we like read them. We didn't like we saw it
Mhm.
coming, so we didn't bleed at all to that. I think that was like the threat they had. This
Hmm.
mid prio and but like I think my jungler mid did a really good job of tracking the Akshan and Kazakhs. So I mean, it might have looked hectic, but I think that like our comms were pretty. We were pretty in key to what was happening. Like we didn't
Mhm.
feel too much
Yeah,
pressure
I
there.
mean, definitely in game two, Berto played that first invade. They brought in Akshan and Kazakhs to try and get a pinch, and Berto played it absolutely perfectly. Kited the red buff the one direction where they were under no threat, so that was definitely cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, game one definitely a bit rougher in the early game, and I think that's more what
Yeah.
Salt was asking about when you guys were down like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
17-6. Like, was there sort of a calming voice? Who's the shot caller? Was somebody saying,
Yeah.
"Don't worry, guys, we scale. These guys don't have anything on us post 25"? Because that game
Um.
flipped on a dime. At 20 minutes,
Yeah.
you guys just
So
started dominating. It was
they
It wasn't
took
even
wild.
close.
they took like no teleports that game, right? So even though they got this lead, they weren't really able to do anything with it.
Mhm.
They never had their waves pushed out. So come like even if they're winning these fights or these fights were close, like they couldn't do anything off of them. Probably
Ghost
because they had
Jace,
no
Keck
teleport.
W.
Yeah, I,
Yep.
I don't know if I agree with the ghost chase, but hey, I mean maybe you know something I don't. It's the first time I've seen it. I'm not gonna say it's bad yet, but I think they
Uh,
definitely suffered from not having teleport on either their mid laner or top laner because they like I mean like we had like our mid tower and our top tower up, even though we were down 6 gold. Like the shit was like up for such a long time. So
mhm.
um,
Mhm.
All right. Well, do you have any final thoughts on the season that lies ahead of us or the games tonight that you want to share with the world? Any shout outs or anything before we do shut it down for the night?
adds it up.
Jazz it up,
Jazz it up.
baby. That was Super Yacht of We Love Solbert. Jazz it up, coming on through for the winner's interview. Very illuminating stuff. Thank you for coming on through. We do appreciate it, but that will do it for us here tonight. I do believe Nameless is still streaming our other matchup of the night. I think it started a little bit later, and that is Goldfish versus Dorado. That's a rematch from the lock-in tournament. It's a rematch from Plat Amateur Worlds, so definitely a big matchup you guys are going to want to check out. I'm sure we'll raid them, but you can hop on over to twitch.tv/thenamelessorg if you want to start checking that one out. But thank you guys for hanging around with us all night for this
Oh,
series. It was a
it's
fun one.
over.
It's over. It's over. We made it through the first night. All three of us are first timers here at CCS. Me, Salt, and our producer, who's I'm not going to butcher their name because I haven't Exernian. I haven't heard it said out loud yet. I've only been reading it, and I wasn't sure what syllables to stress. They absolutely crushed it. Everybody was great here tonight, and it was a nice dry run here for CCS Diamond. Great kickoff games, but we will be gone until next week. Until then, we'll see you around. Bye-bye.
No control over where we go, but we don't care to know. Ignorance is bliss. Your tears are gone, and they drifted back from where they came, and they will not be missed. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, you're ready to begin. And just levitate.
We lose ourselves in the spirit of things. We lose our sight.